This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. U.S. crude oil stockpiles posted a surprise large build last week, while gasoline and distillate inventories gained more than expected, the Energy Information Administration, EIA, said on Wednesday. Crude inventories rose by 7.9 million barrels in the week to June 9, the EIA said, compared with analysts' expectations in a Reuters poll for a draw of 510,000 barrels. U.S. crude inventories have jumped higher, hitting the brakes on today's rally, while builds to the products are somewhat inevitable given strong refinery runs, said Matt Smith, lead oil analyst for the Americas at Capital.
Oil prices edged higher on Thursday, recovering some ground from the previous day's plunge on worries about future U.S. interest rate hikes, with markets now looking to key Chinese economic data for demand indications. Brent crude futures climbed 21 cents, or 0.3%, to $73.41 a barrel by 0009 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude was at $68.50 a barrel, up 23 cents, or 0.4%. Both benchmarks fell 1.5% on Wednesday after the U.S. Federal Reserve projected more rate hikes this year, triggering fears a higher interest rate environment would slow the economy and lower oil demand.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
China's oil refinery throughput in May rose 15.4% from a year earlier, data showed on Thursday, as refiners brought units back online from planned maintenance and independent refiners processed cheap imports. Total refinery throughput in the world's second-largest oil consumer was 62.0 million metric tons last month. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, showed. May's figures represented the second highest monthly total on record, exceeded only by 63.3 million metric tons in March this year.
India will soon overtake China as the largest driver of global oil demand, International Energy Agency, IEA, Chief Fatih Birol said on Wednesday. One of the reasons why we say this is that electrification of cars and buses in China is growing rapidly, Birol told reporters on the sidelines of a G20 event in New Delhi. I very much hope India will move closer in terms of electrification. The Paris-based energy agency said in its Outlook report released on Wednesday that about three-quarters of the 2022-28 demand growth increase will come from Asia, with India surpassing China as the main source of growth by 2027.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
China's primary aluminium output in May rose only slightly from a year earlier. Data released on Thursday showed, as production in most regions remained steady while output growth was capped by extended power curbs in the southwestern Yunnan province. The world's top aluminium producer churned out 3.42 million metric tons of primary aluminium last month, up 1.1% from the same period a year ago, according to data from the National Bureau of Statistics. May's data equates to a daily output of 110,323 metric tons, compared with 110,000 tons per day from the previous month, a Reuters calculation showed.
Gold prices rose from a three-month low on Thursday as the dollar and bond yields crept lower after U.S. economic data, although worries over more rate hikes from the Federal Reserve capped gains. Spot gold was up 0.4% at $1,950.59 per ounce by 9:52 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 13:52 GMT, having hit its lowest since March 17. U.S. gold futures fell 0.3% to $1,962.90. U.S. industrial output unexpectedly fell 0.2% in May, missing expectations for a 0.1% increase, while a separate report showed initial jobless claims unchanged at 262,000 for last week. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. South American grain exports are set to overshadow Black Sea shipments this year as doubts grow over an unbacked Ukraine deal and international traders cut commercial activities in Russia, a top executive with major commodities group Cargill said. The Black Sea grain deal, which allows the safe passage of grains through 3 Ukrainian ports, was extended on May 17 for 2 months, a shorter time than expected. The corridor is definitely not performing as it was at the beginning, Jan Dielman, president of Cargill's ocean transportation business, told Reuters.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.